Hello everyone, welcome to another WarLight strategic guide. This time we are covering Sri Lanka. I have with me Beren, who actually never played this template before, so he's just gonna hear me talk and nod his head and say, yes, you are completely right, PS. Isn't that right, Beren?
I don't think so.
So this particular template, very straightforward. You have three initial picks of 4 armies each. You have the usual cards, reinforcement, and that's it. Actually, you don't have any other priority or order delay, so just reinforcement cards. You need to make sure that you keep expanding each turn to get the card piece. It's cyclic order, 0% straight round, so bit of a brawl. You have 3 initial spots, so your maximum income is either +4, like you double pick uh, a +2, and you expand into another one. Um, so the maximum you can get on turn 1 is 8 income, your 4 base plus 4 others. Uh, and the things you usually look for on this template is either combos for the +2 without deployment to do that +4 initial income, and position. And position here is very, very important. This will always end up in a brawl. You can see that there are a lot of weird boundaries around. You can see, for example, this Polo Naruwa territory. It serves as an excellent choke point to defend Polo Naruwa against the west, but at the same time is very exposed to the east. And there are a lot of territories like that. You can see Potwani is also very interesting choke point. Seruwila is also very interesting choke point. And if you notice carefully, most of these interesting choke points are in the south part. So you usually end up with a brawl in the south part unless there are some wastelands. Because if you get a 1+2 there with good position, you have a very good control of that area. Uh, the other hot spot that you usually have on this map is on the north, either on the northwest completely or on the north itself. Usually some people pick there either 1 pick or 2 picks and try to get a +3 there. And the idea is that you have good safe expansion around there. So you usually focus on the south where you can brawl, and then you have safety in the north where you can expand slowly while you keep your position in the south, affecting all of your opponent's bonuses. So very much about picking strategy mostly. There is something also into gameplay itself, but mostly it's about picking and positioning yourself. Sometimes if you lose a pick on this game, usually it's GG. So you need to be very careful about thinking of your picks properly and have good position and make sure you cover all the possible scenarios of your opponent. So Baron, you heard me rant about this. How do you feel about my ideas of picking on this template? Do they make sense?
Yeah. Would you say this feels like a small map in terms of gameplay?
Uh, it's not that small. If it was like in half, if you would cut the northwest, I would call it small. But with all
Okay.
the northwest coming to play, there are some games where you have people getting wiped out from the south, and then the person who is in the south still has to go all the way to the north and control some choke points to make sure who ends up winning the game. So
Okay.
I wouldn't call it small.
So would you say that coverage is more important or getting very quick income?
Uh, I think position is more important. Position with
Okay.
coverage.
Position. Yeah. When that's part of coverage, or coverage is part of position, I guess.
Because
Um,
if you have a pick in the south but you don't control a choke point, like for example here, if I control Mineria on this +2, I can get this +2. But if someone has a pick in Tricomale instead, they will expand into Tricomale and they have a triple border on me. So you have
mhm.
to think about this if your opponent is likely to pick there or not. If you want to go for safety or not, and if you go for the counter, your opponent might also be going for the counter, and if you lose the counter, then you don't have any position in the south at all, so you're screwed. So sometimes you have to think of counters for your counters, and that whole metagame thinking of picking strategy comes into play a lot in Sri Lanka. So this is the kind of map which I avoid picking in the rush. I always end up wanting to find some hours in the night when I'm not being distracted by work or girlfriend or whatever, and think things through properly, because I know if I miss a pick, it's the game is over.
Okay, that makes sense.
Anything else you can
Would you
think
say
worth
would you
mentioning?
say that the eastern part of the map, I guess, well, northern part of the map, the right side of the map, is a little bit less used?
You see come into play Vavonia a lot, especially comboing with either Trico Malay or Putalam, so you can get that +3, and it's usually safe once you get it. So it does. I seen it come into play a lot. You don't have as much expansion as the West, but you do have that +5, which if you control the South, you can easily get. And you can get that +4 in the corner as well, which will be very hard for an opponent to reach. So yeah, they can come into play. It's not very often that it happens, but I've seen it happen.
Okay, and one more just kind of general purpose question. When you've been saying east and north and whatever, do you mean like east is left?
Oh
Because
no, I mean the
technically that's
south.
south.
Yeah. I apologize for that. You see the compass right here, and yeah, the north side is actually over here. But yeah, I've been meaning as in the top and left and right. So I
Yeah, I'm
apologize
sure
for that
most
confusion.
people interpret it like that, but it's just a little.
Yeah, it can be confusing. I don't know why they didn't put the map properly rotated. Actually, I guess it fits a bit better into the screen like this, but I would prefer it to have geographical north on the actual top. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's it for this map. Thanks, Beren, for helping me commentate it. If you guys have any questions, let us know either on YouTube or on the forum thread that we will be creating. Feel free to share your games, ask specific questions, picking strategy, all that kind of stuff. Someone will surely go there and give their 2 cents on what they would pick. So bye bye. See you next time.